Hello, my beautiful Scorpio. Welcome to your moon reading. This is just a general reading, so please do take what resonates and toss the rest. I am going to complete this moon reading as a full moon reading because we are approaching a giant full moon and people are losing their run of themselves around me anyway. I don't know if you've noticed that in your area, but people driving and cussing and acting like crazy people right now. So I definitely think the full moon is having its way with us a little bit. Also, I did want to mention just really quickly, so it's not a sales sitch, but my 8-year-old son got a candle making kit for Christmas. He is trying to earn a little bit of money for Easter presents and birthday presents for the family, but he is making these candles and he makes different scents. Now they're not professional. As you can see, this one does have a little crack through it. This one was initially made for grandmother, but it smells like lemon cookies. He did steal my essential oils, so they are very well scented, I will say that. But anyway, he is trying to sell those. So if you have an interest, comment please, and I can always throw them either up on my Etsy shop, which is linked in my channel, or Venmo, PayPal, cash, whatever, we can send it to you kind of situation if you have any interest whatsoever. If not, no big deal. Otherwise, let's go ahead and get started here, okay? I just promised him I'd mention that, okay? So anyway, let's go ahead and get started. This is an 7-card moon circle. The first position here is what kind of position you're facing, situation, that kind of thing. Second card is indicative of what you're kind of got you into this situation. Third card is similar to a challenge card in typical tarot, and it's kind of keeping you in this situation. Fourth is the optimal outcome should you follow the 5th, 6th, and 7th cards. And do not worry if you cannot see these, that's not a problem. We'll go through them one by one, try to get you some answers here as we go along, my lovely Scorpio. So, all right. All right, so right now I feel like for most of you, I feel like for a lot of you right now, you are having like a battle of wills with yourself, okay? To be honest with you. I feel like, and I'm seeing this so much this year, and I know a lot of it is because we've left that 15-year cycle. We're coming into a new 21-year cycle, Jupiter moving into Aquarius. That whole situation has just caused so many changes. And even if people aren't feeling the change in themselves where they want to shift situations, positions, what have you, other people around them are, and it's affecting them, right? It's like that butterfly effect, okay? So, you're like, why is somebody leaving me? Why is somebody wanting to push me out of this or change the way they're doing this? And it's like, now I have to shift the way I'm doing things, you know what I'm saying? So you're affected even if you're not personally feeling the effects. But it's definitely taken its toll. And so I think you're having a battle of wills here a bit with yourself, because a lot of you are in positions where some of you want to stay status quo, right? With what you're doing, whether it's the relationship you're in, whether it's the job you're in, whether it's the same home you're in, or if you're single, you want to stay single, but you've got people who are kind of like pursuing you and you're kind of, oh, do I want to or don't I want to? It'd be nice, but on the other hand, it wouldn't. It's extra work. It's extra struggle. I'd have to answer to somebody. Maybe you're getting other job opportunities right now, or people are offering you things because they're wanting to change and they're interested in, starting a new business or doing other things. And they're saying, hey, you're really good at this and that. Why don't you, come to business with me, do these certain things with me, go into this investment with me, certain things, and you're like, I've got this job that's pretty stable. I don't know if I really want to do that, but this could be a really great opportunity to showcase my talents, make extra money, but it's riskier, it's not that guaranteed paycheck, So I feel like right now you are almost in a 5 of Swords, as it were, type of energy where you're kind of like internal conflict. And because you're a willful person anyway, when you kind of have that internal conflict, you really have that internal conflict, right? Because you're a willful person. So when you start to argue with yourself, you're good at it, okay? I feel like you're like, I'm not losing this. But when you're fighting yourself, it's hard to not lose or win, right? And what's getting you into this is assessing, right? Because you've been given opportunities. There's no doubt in my mind. I see it, I feel it, I believe it. Everything I'm seeing here is that you're being given opportunities, okay? These opportunities are coming in. And again, this may be a relationship opportunity. Somebody may really be trying to, either lure you away from the relationship you're already in, or they may be, trying to bring you into a relationship when you are pretty kind of set in your ways of being single. And you're kind of like, I don't really want to do that. It could be somebody from your past that you've already had a relationship with. And you're like, I got out of it for a reason, a pretty good reason. But you're kind of like, oh, but, I kind of miss them. But, my head's saying one thing, my heart's saying another kind of situation. So you're assessing that. Or it could be like, again, like the work thing. Maybe you're getting opportunities from other companies, and you're like, it's a really good offer, but I hate to leave the company I'm with. I've got tenure there, time there, whatever, built up stuff there, or friends that are like, gosh, we've seen your talent. We know we could really make bank. We could really do well starting our own business. You wouldn't be on a 9-to-5. You'd have more freedom, so you're really assessing whatever situation it is you're personally facing. You're really assessing every angle of this. And as you do, right, you are, you're good at really being one to do due diligence, especially when you're arguing with yourself because you're like, you're not gonna catch me off guard. No, I'm gonna make sure I know all my ins and outs before I make any decision, as you should. And that's brilliant, really. But I do think the assessing of that situation is really even making it more complicated for you, because then it starts bringing in, especially those of you who have family that would be affected by a business decision, or who are involved in a relationship situation where this could be involved with somebody you've had a past with. I think that you are really having also a head-heart conflict. And I'm just getting that is like really driving you insane. So, what's keeping you in it is the balance. And again, I think that's kind of par for the course here when you're assessing, because you are trying so hard to make sure that everything is going to balance out whatever decision you make. You want to make sure that it's not going to be the wrong decision, that you're not going to jump ship on a job for something that's going to go, complete belly up, and then, everything's out of balance. Your family's out of balance, your finances are out of balance, everything, right? Same thing if it's a relationship, depending on how it resonates with you, you don't want to upend the balance. And if it's somebody, again, that is from your past, and I don't know why I keep getting that. I don't know why, but I keep just seeing that for some of you, that this is somebody that you've had a history with, okay? And I don't know whether they hurt you at some point or you perceived they hurt you in some way, and you really have missed them. You've really wanted to kind of reach out to them. But now that there's an opportunity that's presented itself, or they've presented to you, however it's gone down, that you guys have come back into a potential relationship situation, you're really considering becoming back involved with this, but that if it doesn't work out again, it could be catastrophic. Balance would be out the window. I mean, this could be head, heart, mental, both of you. I mean, you've got friends the whole 9 yards, right? Everything will be out of balance. So that's you trying to maintain a sense of diplomacy here is really, really keeping you in this assessing phase, this contemplative phase. But the optimal outcome here is boundaries. And I think that's going to have to be your optimal outcome in anything you do. To be quite frank with you, I think a lot of the reason that you've had, any issues here with relationships, or that you might be considering jumping out of a relationship, or going back to a relationship you've already left, or changing work, is because you're not completely thrilled with what you've got going on right now. That's the bottom line. And I think that's because people have crossed boundaries with you. I feel like you have allowed people to kind of push your boundaries, whether it be at work or at home. And, or in a relationship. And I think that's part of why, you are even considering any of this. Because if it was easy, if your job was absolutely a work of love, a labor of love for you, or you were in a relationship that you absolutely adored, obsessed, loved, whatever, whichever it might be for you, you wouldn't even be considering this. This wouldn't even be happening for you, right? So it's because somebody has tested your boundaries. They've put you in a predicament where you're not completely 100% thrilled. They put you in a place where you're questioning whether there's better options, right? And that alone lets you know that the next step you make is going to require you to have boundaries that you stick to and you do not ever let anybody cross again. And that's going to be really pivotal and important going forward, okay? But how do you get there, right? How do you get to a point where you can get that happiness and set those boundaries so that you don't ever have to be in a position again where you feel like somebody can infiltrate you, right? Cause more problems. Well, the first thing you do is you find your abundance, okay? And abundance is not specifically money. Especially in this deck, abundance is about, everything. If you look at her, she is surrounded by beautiful fauna, plants, animals, happiness, right? The abundance here is joy, happiness, the things that make you specifically happy, okay? Whatever that may be for you, right? So that's the first thing you have to do is decide what makes you feel abundant, okay? Is it the money? Is it time? Right? Because if you're pouring, if your job, the reason that you're not thrilled with your job, right, is because you're pouring 6 million hours into it and it's taking away from your family, okay? Then if an opportunity for another job or to have your own business may offer less money, but so much more free time, well, then that's answering one of your questions, right? That's helping you with this assessment, right? If part of, the relationship situation is the abundance is about who makes you feel whole, and you just know when you're with this specific person versus being alone or being with another person, you feel like, you're giddy, you're full, you're complete, then that answers the question. It's worth maybe that risk to you to try it again, those kinds of things. But you have to decide what is it that is your version of abundance, because none of us have the same version, right? Some people, the only thing that makes them happy is making more money, right? That may not be you. Some people, the only idea of abundance is they don't care about material things. They care about spending time with their family, right? And so they would take much less material things for that, right? Some people, they don't want to be alone, right? They just don't. And so they would rather be with anybody, even if they're not good for them. I don't recommend that, but there are people like that, and that, to each their own. I don't think that's healthy. It's codependent. But, if they're not toxic to you and they're not negative to you, if you'd rather do that than be alone because you're so terrified to be alone and that is miserable to you, to each their own. I'm not a doctor. I'm not going to tell you how to live your life. But again, the point being that you have to decide what is your particular abundance, because only when you know that are you going to be able to decide where your priorities really lie to make these decisions, right? The next thing is resilience, right? Again, the number one thing you want to know about resilience is you don't want to live that way. You don't want to live in resilience. No one wants to live in resilience mode. Resilience is a fantastic characteristic to have. My Lord, everybody wants to be able to be resilient. You want to be able to bounce back from those horrible tragedies that happen in real life, right? But you don't want to live in it. Nobody wants to have to be resilient from every day of their life, right? No, that's torturous. But you want to be resilient, okay? So you want to know that if you leave that job, you can bounce back. And if it doesn't work out and you try with this person, because you really believe in your heart that that's the best option, you can be resilient, okay? You can come back from that. But also that you have resilience in you. that, you know what, I can modify, I can change, I can adapt to what I need to make things work, right? So if I leave this job, if I leave this person, if I start something new with this person, I am going to be more resilient, right? I am going to be able to adapt, change, grow, to do what I need to do to make things fluid, right? Because friction is not where you want to be. Right? You want to try to be fluid, right? You want things to come in a fairly easy way. Nothing is ever super easy, right? We have to understand that. But, you know, starting a new job is not going to be easy, right? Starting a new business is not going to be easy. Starting a new relationship, especially if you're like trying to merge your lives back together, or if you've been apart, or merge your lives together with new people, you know, it's hard. It's not easy, right? But are you resilient enough to handle those changes? And of course you are. You have that. You just have to accept that and embrace that, right? If you're going to be a person who's going to just be staunch and absolutely stern, and I'm not making any changes, and I'm not learning any new stuff, and you're not going to get anywhere, right? You're just not. You're not going to get anywhere with anybody, okay? So you have to use your resiliency, okay, to your advantage. And patience. Again, this is all going along with that resiliency and that abundance. You have to be patient. You have to be patient with the people you're dealing with when you're changing. Patient with the people around you that you care about. Okay, so if you're dealing with a significant other that you're trying to get with, be with, spend your life with, spend time with, you have to be patient with them, of course. But if you're changing jobs and it's affecting your family, for example, you have to be patient with them too, because they're making these changes too, right? It's not just about you going through the changes. Your family's having to endure these changes too, right? Your business partners, whomever might be affected by this, right? So you have to be patient. But the most important person to be patient with is yourself, right? You might be an old dog learning new tricks, right? And I say that very loosely. I say that to my 8-year-old sometimes. You're a new dog learning an old dog learning a new trick. He's 8, okay? It's just a phrase. But when he's learning something new on a computer, for example, I'm like, you know, we're obsolete every day. Something new comes out technologically every day. Every day we become obsolete for that day, but we have the ability to learn and adapt. That's what makes us human, right? Fortunately. So be patient with ourselves. Okay, we have to give ourselves some leeway. We can't be hard on ourselves. We have to give ourselves some leeway, right? To make mistakes, to be resilient, right? We have to give ourselves some, give ourselves a chance, right? If we're slow at getting into it, if, you know, a new job, a new business, if we're hard, you know, headed about this new relationship, or, you know, if we try to push people away, okay, be patient with ourselves. Ask the people around you to be patient with you, okay? Communication, that's important, right? That's part of it. If you really care about somebody and you are like, listen, here's the deal. I do want to try to work things with you, potentially, but I'm coming from a place where I've been by myself for a while. I'm setting my ways a little bit too. Two people setting their ways a little bit, it might take some patience, right? Might take some resiliency on both our parts to kind of bounce back from what we're used to adjusting and adapting, and, you know, a little give and take, right? Let's be patient. But if you communicate and you set boundaries, that you let them know up front, I am willing to work with you. Job, new business partner, new significant other, I am more than willing to work with you because I care about XYZ, whatever is important to you. More than willing to work with you. However, I have certain boundaries that I expect you to respect. If you cross those, this will not go forward, and I will maintain that. And you maintain that course, right? Because you cannot allow yourself to lower your self-worth for anyone or anything, okay? But I do think that once you realize what's most important to you, and once you have laid the groundwork for what you will and won't tolerate, and you've put into practice your resiliency, and you've given yourself some patience and time, I think you will be able to make anything that you want happen. You are a very strong-willed person. You're a very resilient person. You're a very intelligent person. And obviously, you are a very talented person, or a very highly sought after person, obviously, or you wouldn't even be in this position, right? For people to want to vie for your attention. So clearly, I do not see that there is going to be any problem with you moving forward in any manner that you want. But the main issue here is that you need to make sure that going forward, you are setting those boundaries so that no one, again, puts you in a place where you can be easily lured, because you are going to be so phenomenally happy that you wouldn't imagine leaving it, right? So I think that's going to happen for you. I think everything is going to be really, really good for you. I just think right now you're in some serious internal conflict with yourself about what is the best thing to do. And I have no doubt that you're going to do the right thing, pick the right thing for you, because you are putting a whole lot of time, effort, and energy into really weighing your options. But I think that the ultimate key here for me, of all these cards that I am most drawn to, the ultimate key is deciding what it is that you feel is going to make you feel the most abundant. What is it that you can't live without? What is the thing that you can't live without? The most important thing. Is it time with your family? Is it money? Is it a certain person who makes you feel a certain way? Those kinds of things. That is the deciding factor, right? So hopefully this resonated with you. If it did, please do like, subscribe, share, hit that notification bell. Otherwise, I hope to see you back very soon for your Celtic Spirit reading. Bye.